Hey guys, this is Cam for 15, joined by my co-host Matt Swarmstead, obviously my friend from college, and we're back with another college football game recap, our recap, and we're covering week 6. Now, yes, I know if you've been keeping up with this, we did not review week 5. By the time we tried to get a video out, it was like, honest to God, too damn late. I was gonna originally do a video like on my own, like I did a few weeks ago for this case, but by the time I had Friday, I was like, what's the point? Listen, I guess a quick overview of week 5 is the fact that, there were some wins that, was shocking. Other wins we didn't really, we expected to happen. I guess some takeaways, the fact that Wisconsin got destroyed by Michigan. Uh, what is it? And really, I guess you could say Cincinnati defeating Notre Dame and Notre Dame. Also, Stanford defeating Oregon at home too, which effectively ended the Pac-12's chances of ever making a college football playoff this year, which is fucking disappointing because I'm a fan of a Pac-12 team. But it's okay. It's not like I give a shit about the Bruins Pac-12 chances anymore because they suck now. Right now, they're in our battle with, yes, Arizona, not Arizona State, who they lost to last week, Arizona.
For everyone knowing, if I do look up at the screen, it's because I am watching the game, keeping up with it. That is why I look up at my TV, by the way.
But anyways, week 6. Week 6 was a great week of college football. If not, right, probably the best week of this season because you had crazy upsets, some crazy games, some very close things happening and stuff like that. And crazy upsets and stuff like that. But yeah, we're gonna do our typical thing where we get into obviously all the different conferences and stuff like that. So let's start off with the ACC conference. Georgia Tech defeated Duke 31-27. Virginia defeated Louisville by 1 point, 34-33. And I believe I said Louisville had to win a game, but I think they already lost a game, so their chances are done for the ACC Coastal Division, I believe. Wake Forest chances to get to the ACC championship game are still alive. They narrowly escaped Syracuse and beat them in overtime 40-37. Essentially, Sam Hartman threw a game-winning touchdown at the end of the game. So Wake Forest almost got upset by Syracuse and almost had their ACC chances gone. Again, Wake Forest has to win out for them to make the ACC championship game over Clemson, which Clemson was on a bye this week. So yes. A big upset is the fact that Florida State walked into North Carolina and defeated them fairly simply, from what I heard, 35-25. Congratulations to Florida State, whatever moral victories you can take because your season absolutely sucks. I guess that's good. As for North Carolina, if you're losing to Florida State, come on, man. You guys just suck. So again, North Carolina continues its trend being overrated. Anything you want to say?
No, I agree. I mean, I remember week 1 we were talking about it when North Carolina and a loss. It was the biggest, it was a huge deal. I mean, I think we're so overhyped.
Yeah. I think it's probably because they lost a lot of offensive talent to the NFL, so that could play a thing. But yeah. Do you want to say the Notre Dame Virginia Tech for our big talking point games?
Yeah, we can save that one. Yeah, we can save that one.
Okay. All right. Moving on to the American Conference. Currently, right now, with 4:15 left to go in the game, Tulsa is leading Memphis by 35-21. Tulsa should probably hold on to that game.
I also have that game on my laptop up here too, so I am following that game and the UCLA game. So if stuff happens, I will be keeping us posted live.
Yes. SMU, number 24, SMU defeated Navy 31-24. UCF defeated East Carolina 20-16. On Thursday, Houston blew out Tulane 40-22. Number 5, Cincinnati defeated Temple in a blowout 52-3, as Cincinnati essentially is winning out, and they're definitely be in the college football playoffs by literally tomorrow. Literally.
And I hope they make it. I really do. I honestly do. I really do.
At this point, with the fact that you had Penn State lose and Alabama lose, you have to put them in the college football playoffs. You have to put them.
If they went out, they have to.
Yeah. I think it's about time. Holy shit! A lot of Big 12 teams were literally on breaks today, on
Yeah,
buys.
I know. That's I was thinking the same thing when I clicked on their conference.
We'll talk about the Oklahoma Texas game, which was
Yes,
completely insanity.
it was
Uh,
awesome.
yeah. Baylor defeated West Virginia 45-20. And TCU defeated Texas Tech 52-31. I believe right now TCU is probably the only team that could maybe take down Oklahoma. I don't know if Baylor plays Oklahoma later this year. Yes, they do. They do in a few weeks. Huh. Very interesting. And that's a Baylor at home, so they might have a chance to beat Oklahoma because I do know Baylor's pretty good this year.
They're not bad at all, actually. And another team that I think Oklahoma State is another team that can beat Oklahoma. Oklahoma State is also undefeated. They're ranked 12th right now. So
Well, yeah, we'll talk more about Oklahoma when we get to our main talking point game. So, yeah, um, Ohio State defeated Maryland 66-17. It's been easy for Ohio State the last couple of weeks because they really haven't been playing in no like really good competition. And that's why CJ Stroud has looked good as of late. Now, for CJ Stroud, that's good for his confidence. Again, we still need to see him do it against the bigger powers of the Big Ten. Michigan State utterly freaking just destroyed Rutgers, and I know freaking Jalen Naylor went off on them. Just
yeah,
went off on him. Like I think I'm gonna read him his stats. This
I
kid,
have yeah can't
I got it. I'll say it.
yeah no yeah you're no yeah yeah
Yeah, he had 5 receptions for 221 yards and 3 TDs. If that doesn't say he just sunned Rutgers in one game, I don't know what that says.
I
Crazy.
was just trying. I was waiting for you to say because I was trying to say I think most of that was in the first half, if not all of those. I'm not, if not all of them actually.
Yeah. So Michigan State seemingly is back to being a Big Ten power again. So there definitely could be favorites to win the Big Ten this year. They are freaking good this year. Mel Tucker's doing a good job with them.
Yes, he
Um,
is.
Wisconsin defeated Illinois 24-0. Well, it's Illinois. So what can I say? They suck. And Wisconsin should do this. Hey, at least Wisconsin got revenge on them from last year's game. That's a good thing. So yeah, we'll talk about the Penn State Iowa game in our main talking game recaps, and even Michigan Nebraska in our game talking recaps. Honestly, I looked at it this week. We might have the most main like story type of games this week we're talking about
It
individually.
was awesome this week. This week was a great week of college football.
Yes. Conference USA. Charlotte on Friday defeated FIU 45-3. Marshall defeated Old Dominion 20-13 in OT. UAB defeated FAU 31-14. Liberty defeated Middle Tennessee State University 41-13. North Texas lost to Missouri 48-35. Southern Mississippi lost to UTEP 26-13. And University of Texas San Antonio defeated Western Kentucky in a shootout 52-46.
That's awesome. Those are like the fun games to watch too. You know what I mean? With two teams that you really kill us who wins at that point. Those are fun games.
Independence wise, so far New Mexico State is trailing Nevada 31-7 at halftime.
Yeah, I'm not watching that game by the way, so that will not be a game. And Memphis just scored by the way on Tulsa.
Okay.
No, never mind. Nope. Didn't get his foot down.
Okay. I don't think we really need to talk about the Boise State BYU game, even though it was a featured game. Boise State upsets BYU at BYU and defeats them 26-17. I legit at a time I fell asleep on this game. I'm not even lying. I was so damn tired. And I fell asleep on it. All I do know is Boise State forced a lot of turnovers on BYU, and BYU was literally barely could do anything on offense.
Yeah, BYU had one of their worst games of the season, definitely. And Memphis just scored, and they went for 2 and got it. So the score is 35-29 Tulsa right now. Memphis scored a touchdown and went for 2 and got it. So Memphis down by 6.
Interesting. So yeah, that's very interesting. So BYU, well, they're definitely gonna be out of the top 10 for probably the rest of the season. I will say this: I did like the Boise State black helmets, and I did like freaking BYU's jersey and their dark navy helmets. It looked pretty cool.
BYU, yeah, they've had some cool jerseys over the past since Kellen Moore's been there actually.
Mm-hmm.
Back in the day when he was there.
Already spoke on Liberty. Well, it's our typical UConn recap, and UConn lost to UMass. You thought they wouldn't lose, but they lost to UMass 27-13. And I kid you not, it was so good for UMass to win this game. Their fans stormed the field. Mostly probably from the standpoint, they were like our old college Post, who hadn't won a game in like 2 years. That was our first one since 2019. So congrats to UMass and defeating You Can't, because you can't win.
UMass, that was a UMass versus You Can't.
Yeah. And if you want to know who UConn's playing next week, they're playing the Ivy League school Yale at home. Now, they should win that game. But remember, this is the same team that lost to Holy Cross in their building.
Remember that? Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, and if you want to go see UConn on live television, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 a.m. Pacific, go to CBS Sports Network. I'm guessing they have some sort of deal to play them on CBS Sports Network or something, because
I don't know who worked that one out, but I need that person to be working on my deals.
But let me just say this. I might actually have to watch that game to see if Yale can pull off the upset.
Oh man, I don't know if that's gonna be happening.
Oh my goodness. Well, we'll turn back in next week for week 7 of You Can't finally get a dub. Anyways, let's get to the MAC conference. Northern Illinois defeated Toledo today by 2 points. So that game, I guess, went to the wire. Didn't see that game. Akron defeated Bowling Green. Shocking, because Akron, from what I know, is the worst MAC team in the conference. 35-20. Eastern Michigan defeated Miami, Ohio by 1, 13-12. Ball State blew out Western Michigan 45-20. Central Michigan defeated Ohio 30-27. Buffalo lost to Kent State University 48-38. Okay, moving on to Mountain West Conference play. We already spoke on Nevada. Boise State got their W. Colorado State absolutely destroyed San Jose State 32-14. Air Force defeated Wyoming 24-14. And then San Diego State, number 25th, San Diego State defeated New Mexico 31-7. Going on to next up, Pac-12 conference play. Currently, right now at the start of the third quarter, UCLA is right now up 14-13. I don't give a fuck anymore, because UCLA's chances are dead at winning the Pac-12 championship, because they lost to Arizona State last week, and it wasn't even a contest. So I don't really care. That's why I just decided, hey, let's just do this recap right now, and I don't have to stress my time watching UCLA, because then guess what? After I'm done, I can go turn on my lovely PS5 in the background and go back to playing Far Cry 6. Washington State defeated Oregon State 31-24. Utah comes into the Coliseum and utterly destroys USC 42-26. As USC scraping and maybe hoping that Urban Meyer just leaves Jacksonville and maybe goes there. Now, if you ask me, I wouldn't want no damn coach who likes to dance or have lap dances on girls older than he is when he's married and has kids. I don't think you want that guy.
Yeah, I don't want him. And UCLA has kicked a field goal, so it's 17-13.
Oh, good. I don't know when they can score a touchdown, so whatever. USC is barely grasping for air, and it seems like USC is back to being the pathetic football program it used to be a few years back. They're not as dominant. Well, what am I talking about? They haven't been dominant since Pete Carroll left. So, yeah, listen, I'm a fan of UCLA, but at least I feel somewhat sympathetic for SC. Like, God, they haven't been good at all. Anyways, on Friday, number 22 Arizona State utterly defeated Stanford 28-10. So it seems like Arizona State is gonna probably win the Pac-12 South. I'm guessing until they play maybe Utah and maybe lose to them. So far, Utah and Arizona State might be Pac-12 South contenders. As for the North, it seemingly looks like it's going to probably be Stanford because they defeated Oregon. So yeah. Going to the SEC, we'll talk about Ole Miss and Arkansas because that game was fucking crazy.
Again, another crazy game this week.
Florida defeated number 20 Florida defeated Vanderbilt 42-0. Tennessee, I believe they had a blackout game or something like that. Defeated South Carolina 45-20. Georgia absolutely annihilated number 18 Auburn 34-10. Again, let me look at the stats mostly for Bo Nix. Bo Nix did absolutely nothing. 2 of 17 yards for 1 pick. Also, I know Georgia's extremely good, but if you're losing to Stetson Bennett, come on, man. I'm sick and tired of Stetson Bennett. He sucks. But hey, JT Daniels can't stay healthy, so you gotta have to play with who you got. But I'll tell you this again: if it's Georgia, Alabama in the SEC championship game, and Stetson Bennett starting, I give Georgia absolutely no chance. Their defense will probably hang in there, but I give them no chance on offense.
I don't know about that.
I'm sorry. I'm not a believer in Stetson Bennett. Even Georgia fans don't like him. Personally, if you ask me, I give Georgia a really good chance if JT Daniels is starting now. I don't know why JT Daniels is always getting hurt. Like, he's hurt every other week. He plays one week.
He is hurt all the time.
Yeah, he plays 1 week, and then he's out the next week. I don't know what the hell's going on with him. He's been hurt since he got that very devastating knee injury back when he was at USC. Ever since then, he constantly gets hurt.
Yeah, and like I always have said, this is a big thing. I say like the best ability is availability. So like, and that's gonna be a big thing in the NFL. I feel like going forward, like when he talking about like draft stock wise.
Yeah, I like the kid. I like JT Daniels. I want him to do good, mostly because he's from Southern California. So,
yes, and Memphis has the ball with 2 minutes left, down by 6 now.
Okay. We already spoke on Missouri, North Texas, Kentucky. They got a big win against Florida last week, and what's another way to top that? Well, you blow out LSU at home. So number 16 Kentucky blows out LSU. LSU, I think I'm gonna have to start putting them on the list of Ed Orgeron being fired. It's starting to seem that Joe Burrow made Ed Orgeron more than Ed Orgeron made Joe Burrow, and he gifted Joe Burrow Joe Burrow gifted Ed Orgeron a lovely, nicely $200 million contract and a chip. Ever since then, LSU's been back to what it used to be before that one major year Joe Burrow had, and it's been back to LSU being inept since they had Les Miles back in the good old days.
Les Miles.
Yeah, Ed Orgeron, if you ask me, he's on the damn hot seat.
Oh yeah.
This guy honestly hasn't done a damn thing.
If he wasn't already.
Yeah. You would think, and it's funny because with LSU, you would think this is you had a bad year last year. It's just because they lost all this great talent to the NFL last year. Okay, understandable. All right, this is supposed to be your rebound year. Your first game, you lose to UCLA. Now at this point, you get blown out to Kentucky. I know Kentucky's no joke this time period, but you would think they could beat Kentucky.
Just to see you maybe get a little bit of negative reaction. UCLA was about to force a 4th down and Arizona punt, but they got a roughing the passer, so it's Arizona 1st and 10.
No, okay. Going on to the Sun Belt Conference, number 15 Coastal Carolina blew out Arkansas State 52-20, and then Troy defeated Georgia Southern 27-24. Texas State defeated South Alabama 33-31 in the 4th overtime. Holy
yes. I watched the end of that game because I saw it said 4 overtime, so I clicked on it I watched the end of it. That was awesome.
Wow, interesting. And then Georgia State absolutely blew out UL Monroe. So that is your weekly, I guess you can say, weekly college football recap for all the other conferences and stuff like that. As I get my charger to charge my laptop, we're gonna get into the big games, and boy, is there a lot of them we have to get into because oh man, college football. I know, I love it. So let's start off with one of the early games, and that was Ole Miss, our number 13 Arkansas and number 17 Ole Miss. Now, if you watched this game last year, it went to the wire. This game, it didn't disappoint. Hell, I would say it even topped last year's game.
It did. I would agree 100% with that statement.
Freaking this team, like literally combined, had over 1,000 yards of total offense, of total yards, essentially. The final score of this game was 52-51 with Ole Miss winning. Let me just say this. Matt Corral, if anything, he's probably right now, other than Malik Willis, like the top quarterback potentially coming out for this week's draft. So if you're like against a team like the Steelers, look at those two QBs. If you hope they fall to you, that's if honestly, they fall to you.
Honestly,
freaking both of them were. Matt Corral was killing it. KJ Jefferson again killing it. I don't know what year he is. I don't know if he's a. Oh, what grade is he in?
I'll check that for you.
He's a sophomore.
Sophomore, yep.
He balled out too. 25 for 35 for 326 yards, 3 TDs, and 1 pick. Listen, he might be one of the top QBs coming out of the draft next year. This guy's good. I'm like, he's good.
He really is, and he's a good size too. So
yeah. Essentially, this game within like the last 2 minutes in this game was insane. Arkansas comes back and takes the lead. And then Ole Miss gets the ball back. Matt Corral throws a wide open touchdown. Don't know what Arkansas was doing there in defense. Literally walks into the end zone. Arkansas gets the ball back with like seconds left to go in the game. And they march all the way down the field. Scored a touchdown with literally score a game-ending touchdown. Now the whole debatable fact is, should they kick the field goal and send this game to OT? Well, Sam Pittman and the Arkansas Razorbacks was going risky here, and they were going aggressively for the win, and they failed to get the 2-point conversion. Now, this is my take before I hand it over to my coach on his thoughts of the game. I would have just taken the field goal and kicked the points and go to overtime because at this point, I understand you're an opponent's building, but at this point, you just scored a touchdown. You got momentum. So just play OT, and guess what? If you win the toss, you ask for the ball first. Just go score first because you have the momentum on your side. And who knows? Maybe you walk out of there victorious. No, I can understand why they didn't want to do it. They want to play aggressive. They want to get out of there. But personally, if you ask me, I would have did it. And then 2, Ole Miss called a timeout before they set up their 2-point conversion. After I saw that, I'm like, just kick the field goal. Because when I saw the 2-point conversion, it was going nowhere. It was going nowhere because there was too much pressure. But that's just me. I would have did it. I would have lived for overtime. But what were your takes on this game?
Real quick, a final just came in. Memphis just beat Tulsa, or Tulsa just beat Memphis 35-29.
Okay.
And going back to the field goal versus 2-point conversion, there's like an old saying, like at home go for the tie, and on the road go for the win. So I get that, and that's probably the way they play there. You want to play aggressive. Roll the dice, and you score the touchdown there. You got that momentum at that point. You might not have it still in overtime. You know what I mean? So you have the momentum there. Why not try and go for it? But I mean, looking at these statistics here, I mean, Ole Miss had a team total of 324 rush yards. They had 2 guys over 100. Corral had 94 rush yards. Also, then you go to look at the Arkansas stats right here, and they had 350 rush yards. So I mean, that's over almost 700. It is. I think it's over 700, almost close to 700 yards of just rush yards, right there. And usually SEC, you wouldn't expect to see a high scoring game like this, and I kind of see the SEC is kind of evolving with Alabama. Kind of you started seeing them evolve too, but and I really like that, and this was one of the best games I've seen in college football all year so far.
Yeah, really good game, really good freaking game. One more thing before we get over to Oklahoma, Texas, I'll just say this: I was dying of laughter when I saw the play where Lane Kiffin, before Arkansas scored the touchdown, was literally freaking praying like, God, please help me.
I'm pretty sure I was on the phone with you at that point. And I was like, oh my God, Lane Kiffin's praying.
No, you weren't. No, you weren't.
Maybe it was my other friend then. I was like, what is going on right now?
Yeah, they literally showed the broadcast. Lane Kiffin is praying. And I know when they scored the touchdown, it was like, fuck. But hey, when he did his post-game interview, this man looked like he was freaking overjoyed and just mentally tapped out. He's like, thank God we got out of this game. I don't care. I'm gone. And the way he walked off was like, he couldn't get the locker room so fast.
Oh, yeah. He was excited to go back to the locker room.
Honestly, he looked. Now, you would think, that's the type of reaction I would expect Scott Frost to give at the end of his game, praying that Michigan misses the kick. But no, that didn't happen. And Lane Kiffin coming across like he's on the hot seat praying. Listen, trust me, that's something that I've never seen before. I've never seen a coach do that at any level, literally praying with their hands together, just hoping that they hold on to the W.
Begging, literally, please, God, let me just please get this one.
Anyways, let's move on to the next game. Speaking of somebody needing Jesus right now, I think Texas Longhorns need Jesus, for crying out loud, because they literally pulled off the choke job of the century. My God. If you're telling me just yesterday, especially for a person who I always had said Oklahoma is overrated this year. If you had told me going into this game, hey, Cameron, Texas is going to be leading the game at some point in the Red River rivalry game, 28-7 against Oklahoma. I'd be like, really? Oh, so it's going to be a blowout. Heck, I made a tweet saying, Jesus, if Texas keeps scoring points so easily like they did, they could drop damn near 50 on Oklahoma's defense.
I know I was about to say your tweets aged very well today.
Well, they're only 2 points within 50, and it was Oklahoma that scored the 50 points. Now, this game was probably, right, honestly, if not maybe the best. Well, I think Alabama, Texas A&M probably took it, but definitely it's between that and Oklahoma and Texas. But Texas pulls a choke job of the century and loses to Oklahoma. Oklahoma was down 20-plus points, and they lost. No, they came back and won. Mostly behind the arm of, yes, their backup quarterback who they were chanting for to come in not two weeks ago in the game against West Virginia, Caleb Williams, the number one dual threat quarterback coming into college, comes behind and literally up and steals, yes, I said it, steals Spencer Rattler's job. Spencer Rattler's probably looking at the transfer portal right now. Probably crying to his girlfriend, his mom, his dad, saying, I fucking
too bad.
Yeah. Let me just say this. Spencer Rattler, when they cut to him on the sideline, he did not look happy. Well, he definitely ain't a team player. He definitely ain't a team player.
Oh, no, he's not. He's punk.
He probably was hoping Caleb Williams freaking does something so bad that he gets back in. Now, from my perspective, I thought Lincoln Riley was going to do the whole thing they did last year. If you watched last year's game, Spencer Rattler sucked in last year's game. And then Lincoln Riley took him out, benched him for a bit, brought him back in the second half, and he balled out. And that was essentially the start of Spencer Rattler's college career from the standpoint, oh, he could be a top NFL draft pick. This year comes around, freaking been garbage this year. And essentially after stupidly throwing a stupid pick, well, even though the pick wasn't on his fault, but then fumbling the ball, Lincoln Riley was like, okay, I'm done with this shit. I can't do this. I can't win with freaking Rattler. I can't win with Spencer. He puts in Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams literally takes one play, which I believe was probably, if you ask me, the turning point in the game, is when Caleb Williams, it was fourth down, and they go, Oklahoma's going for it because it's at this point, it's do or die for them. He literally makes that one run into a touchdown. Ever since then, Texas was shook, and they were reeling for a majority of part of the game. Texas gave occasional fights back and forth and stuff like that, but At the end, Caleb Williams takes over for the rest of the game, and he utterly freaking kills it and dominates. And essentially what happens is Oklahoma scores a touchdown late in the game. It's like, okay, yeah, all right, Texas is done. They blew the game. They weren't moving. And when I mean Texas was blowing the game, first half, they were doing everything on all cylinders. They started the game off great, like better you can ask for. First play of scrimmage, they take it all the way to the house.
Literally,
they get
bubble, bubble. They threw a little bubble.
Yeah, it reminded me of my high school varsity football team did the same exact thing. A bubble fade at their first home game, straight for a touchdown. Simple as that. They get a punt block. Put it in for 14 points. They're up 14-0. They're all Texas crowd is all dancing and everything. Oklahoma crowd's like, fuck. We really are overrated. And then lo and behold, that, okay, yeah, first half, it's 35-20. At the halftime, it's like, okay, Texas should score 1 or 2 touchdowns. This game's over. It's done. Texas will finally win a game against Oklahoma, and they'll probably be smooth sailing to the Big Ten championship game. Well, boy, again, with these college football games, just like when it was 14-0, there was too much time left on the damn clock. And like I said, Lincoln Riley made the move, and it changed the game for Oklahoma. Oklahoma played inspired behind Caleb Williams, and they literally came all the way down. Again, going to the last few minutes of the game, Oklahoma scores. Then Texas, who wasn't doing a damn thing in the third quarter, Oklahoma had them stopped. They stopped B.J. Robinson, and they forced Casey Thompson to beat him with his arm. At that point, they were just blitzing every damn play. Because the Texas O-line could not block them effectively. And then the last drive Texas has, they go all the way down the field and score. And I'm like, oh, you guys could have did that. And one reason is they took a shot down the field, and guess what? That shot paid off, which I question why did they not take any more shots down the field in the remaining third quarter, even early in the fourth quarter. Because at the point, they were not moving the ball at all. It was a stagnant offense. And the moment you can stop the run, all you got to do is send the dogs and just say, go hit that quarterback. But they took the shot. Guess what? It happened, and they scored a touchdown. And I believe they take the lead. No, they tie the game. So it's like, okay, it's going to be like last year. We're going to go to OT. It's something like that. Oklahoma marches down the field with like seconds left to go in the game. And with 3 seconds left to go, it's Brooks that runs it in for the game-winning touchdown. And Oklahoma walks away and steals a game from Texas.
Steals, again. Make sure you clarify steals.
Yeah, steals. Literally, if we're being honest in the grand scheme of things, Oklahoma had no reason of winning this game at all. I don't care if Caleb Williams came into the game. They were still down 35-20. Oklahoma had no business winning this game. Ultimate choke job by Texas. So again, the full phrase is this: new coach, same old Texas Longhorns. They can't seem to win the big matchup against Oklahoma. And the one time, and I said it even a few weeks ago, this might be the year where Texas actually gets the W against Oklahoma, because Oklahoma is shaky. Now, Lincoln Riley got smart, and he didn't leave Spencer Rattler in the game. Now, if Spencer Rattler played that entire game, Texas is winning in a damn blow. Let's get facts straight. But regardless,
they wouldn't even have a chance to come back to the other team.
Oh yeah, regardless. If Texas had scored 2 touchdowns in the second half, at least 2, or maybe at least 2, they might have pulled that game out. Texas totally in the second half only scored 10 points and barely moved the ball on offense. That's a field goal and a touchdown. If you're scoring 10 points in one half, you're not going to win ball games. Never. I don't care what level that is. It could be high school, college, NFL. You score 10 points in one half, you're not winning games. That's no offensive production right there. And guess what? Oklahoma scored 10 points in the third, 25 in the fourth. Like, literally. That can't happen. That can't happen. I'm just utterly shocked that Texas lost this game.
Like, again, my biggest my biggest takeaway is, like you said, if Spencer Rattler played, I do believe Texas would have just utterly destroyed Oklahoma. But again, this is a rivalry game, so you got to expect stuff like this to happen in the rivalry games. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And granted, I did not want Oklahoma to win, but I'm going to say I'm very impressed with Caleb Williams. Very, very impressed, and he deserves to keep that job. And Rattler should be in the portal.
Oh yeah, he's definitely at the end of the year. You're going to hear news. Spencer Rattler has officially entered the transfer portal.
I don't think he's good enough. I don't even think he's a good enough a teammate to stay there till the end of the year.
Oh, he's not. He's going to be a spoiled brat, feeling like he was wronged. So listen, he can go to another team and hopefully improve his draft stock. But listen, he definitely lost his job. And what I found hilariously funny when I was watching the Michigan Nebraska game, they have a whole ticker of highlighting the next game for next week. They legit had Spencer Rattler and Caleb Williams on the ticker because you don't know, is Caleb Williams going to get the fucking start? And I was fucking dying. This man really lost his job. Now, obviously, at the end of the day, these are kids and we should feel bad. But then again, what I'm saying, this dude, Spencer Rattler, is only a few years younger than I am. I'm 22 and he's probably 19 or 20. I don't give a frick. He lost his job because he sucks. And he's going to be a spoiled brat, and he's going to transfer. Go watch that old clip you see on Twitter about Spencer Rattler when he was in high school. You know, everybody
yeah,
making
exactly. I was going to say, what goes around comes around.
Yeah. So, Oklahoma seems like they're going to be a power now. They could lose to TCU. We said earlier, Oklahoma State or Baylor. So, let's not count those teams out yet.
No.
I still think even with Caleb Williams, we have to see more of Caleb Williams still. I still think we need to see more of Caleb Williams.
Exactly.
I still think Oklahoma – go ahead.
They didn't scout for him. That's all I was going to say.
Yeah.
They didn't scout and prepare. That's the biggest thing. I do agree.
Yeah. So I still believe Oklahoma is still overrated because you can clearly see Texas. The one thing Texas took advantage of the deep shot. Their secondary cannot cover anybody. They were getting burnt easy. Simple. I think Oklahoma has a good front seven. Their front seven can hit home, and it's one of the best in college football. I just think their secondary is garbage. They cannot cover nobody. Literally, Texas was getting fades down the middle of the field. Literally, you could probably just run 4 verts, and they couldn't cover that. So listen, that is a terrible, and I mean terrible, demoralizing loss for Texas. Listen, the only way I can see how they make up this season is Steve Sarkisian better hope this next season he beats Oklahoma next year, because otherwise he's going to be just like the other coaches in Texas history. Moment they lose to Oklahoma 2 times in a row again, guess what? You already got UT fans already calling for his job, which, honest to God, some of them are already starting right now. So,
I mean, I don't know if you can really blame Lincoln Riley for as much as you. I don't think Spencer Rattler is that good of a quarterback at all, honestly.
I don't know. It's a good move on Lincoln Riley. I said it. Hey, he's smart enough. He's like, this kid's not giving me nowhere.
Literally. And
so he made the switch. Now, I thought what he was going to do was going to do the same thing from last year. So, okay, Spencer, your last time. But then again, I just remembered, well, he did that because Spencer was a freshman. Spencer's a sophomore now. You should know better. So
he should.
Yeah. And then what I kind of did find a little bit offensive, which I do think Lincoln Riley should have not did, is when they score one of the touchdowns, they bring in Spencer Rattler for a 2-point conversion, and they automatically take him out. My question is this, Lincoln Riley. What was the point in that? Why'd you take him out for Caleb Williams? No idea. Anyways, move on to the next game. Number 3, Iowa defeated Penn State 23-20 in a very, very close game. Again, I somewhat fell asleep for a majority of this game, but from what I heard, Iowa essentially clawed and fought its way back in this game. Mostly because Penn State lost Sean Clifford. And, well, if you lose your starting quarterback, well, it's not going to go well for you, especially with the fact that their backup quarterback absolutely is one of the worst quarterbacks I've seen in my life. and it's not even a
You're
contest.
talking about you're talking about Taquan Robertson.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this man can.
he threw for 34 yards.
There, some of this guy's throws was just terrible. I went on my Twitter and I saw he was trending on Twitter, and all I saw is somebody's people just saying, I've never seen a more horrific quarterback than Robinson. Well, again, maybe it's because he doesn't have a lot of reps and he's put in a big game, but it's like, you can't be that bad. At least freaking have him complete easy passes. This kid couldn't even do that. He was overshooting guys. He was, at this point, you were looking at it and it's like, it's only a matter of time before Iowa like wins this game and comes back. And hey, listen, even though you can have very stout defenses, eventually defenses wear down if they're not getting rest. Yeah, because if it's 3-and-out, those defenses are going to get tired. And after a while, that bend don't break defense, it's just going to break. And that's what happened to Penn State's defense. I'm not going to blame Penn State's defense. It sucks because you have your backup's not playing at least a quality level where they're moving the ball down the field. But you at least have to do something. Now, it kind of sucks for Penn State. This could have been maybe their year to get into the college football playoffs. I think their chances are done, barring anything crazy that happens in Big Ten play. So yeah. But Iowa seemingly is probably going to move up to number 2 with Alabama losing. That's if the committee wants to be a complete shit show of itself, like it always is, because we know they love to favor Alabama. Yeah. What are your thoughts on this game?
I mean, one big thing I want to bring up is Sean Clifford did get hurt, and I think that that takes a big toll when your quarterback gets hurt. You know what I mean? That on the whole team, so that definitely hurts. And like you said, Taquan Robertson did absolutely nothing to help Penn State win that game. But also, I want to go to Iowa, and I think they played a very, very good game defensively. But they forced. Both quarterbacks threw 2 interceptions. That's 4. They forced 4 picks. That's crazy. I don't know if I don't want to say I think I would pick Iowa to win the championship, but I would not be surprised if they won the college football championship this year. I'm serious.
Well,
I'm being dead serious. They play all 3 phases of the football game.
Definitely possible. It could happen.
I'm not saying I'd pick them to win, but I would not be surprised at all.
Well, yeah. Anything else you would like to speak on about this game or no?
No, I'm very impressed with Iowa. Put it that way.
Okay.
Very and not impressed with the Penn State backup quarterback.
Mm-hmm. So hopefully Sean Clifford can come back faster sooner rather than later. Otherwise, that's not looking good for Penn State.
Yeah, they might need to get a new recruit.
Yeah. So going on to the another Big Ten game, Michigan, number 9 Michigan walks into Nebraska, and I guess you can say what escaped Nebraska 32-29. At first, it looked like Michigan was going to easily handle Nebraska, and it's going to be not even a contest. But Nebraska fired back, and they came back in the second half, and they managed to make it a good-ass game. But just like everything else with Nebraska, they make it a great game, but they end up with the same result, an L. And Scott Frost is literally face-palming just – listen, at the end of the game, you could see Scott Frost's face, and you could literally see him just in his head saying, fuck, I'm so done.
It's that thing. He really does know he's done now, I feel like. So he's like, he just
like, I literally made this tweet after Nebraska lost on this game. I literally said, if Scott Frost can't beat Michigan, who we know Michigan for the last couple of years have been frauds in the Big Ten, if you can't beat them, yeah, you might as well just hand in your resignation letters. Nebraska might as well just fire him now.
Yeah, get it over with.
Because guess what? They still got Michigan State on their schedule. Hold on, I need to pull up.
I have the schedule right here for you.
Go ahead.
They have Minnesota, Purdue, Ohio State, Wisconsin, and Iowa.
Oh my fucking god!
Yeah.
Yeah. You might as well fucking fire his ass now. He's not beating some of those teams on that
He's been on the
schedule.
hot seat for a few years.
He
He just got there a few years ago.
Yeah. He's done. He's done. If I'm the AD for Nebraska, just get rid of him now. Just tell him, dude, listen, thank you for your time. You took us nowhere. Just leave. Just leave. Because guess what? You're not beating any of the teams remaining on your schedule. Maybe you beat Minnesota because they're not good this year. You might get past Purdue. You're definitely not beating Ohio State. You're definitely not beating Nebraska, even if that's at Nebraska. Or no, you're not defeating Iowa, even though it's at Nebraska. And you're going to Wisconsin. I think Wisconsin might have what it takes to beat Nebraska. Scott Frost is done.
Wisconsin's not a bad team still this year. I know they've lost some games, but they're not a bad team.
Yeah. Now, I will say, do I feel bad for the poor guy? Because you can see it look on his face every time after a game's over. He's literally just like, we find new ways to lose a game when we had complete momentum. One of the reasons what changed this game is Adrian Martinez goes in a rush. And, well, he fumbles the ball. And, Minnesota uses that fumble, or Michigan uses that fumble to take advantage of that. They essentially scored the last remaining points, and then Michigan hits a field goal to take the lead. And after that, it was just game, set, match. Nebraska, listen, they always keep it. See, I'll respect this on Nebraska. They find ways to keep it close, and they have a late lead. They have a good lead going late into a game. And they just find some way to blow that lead and just let the opposing team come back and beat them. That's why I feel like, okay, you can't really get on Scott Frost for that. It's his team just not being aware of the moment and doing bullshit-ass things.
I mean, but as a coach, you have to prepare them for that. You know what I mean?
Yep. So Scott Frost, like I said, is counting down the days till he's eventually fired. So he's got let me just go down the schedule. Let me go down the schedule because I know this. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks till he's up out of Nebraska. He probably should have never left UCF. Sometimes maybe staying at a good school like UCF was probably the way to go because you would have won.
The grass is not greener on the other side.
But then again, what am I saying? He would have been moving to the Big 12 soon. So he probably would have not done good in the Big 12, even with UCF. So this man's going to be looking for a job, and it's going to be depressing for him. Listen, sucks for him, but as for Michigan, good on them. Even though it was a tight win, they got another victory, and they're going to move up the rankings. Again, Michigan seemingly, even though it's a close game, I know it's a close game, they still really haven't played somebody. You could say Nebraska's so far is their toughest opponent they went up against. But you have to give credit where credit's due. Michigan was down several times late in this game, and they got the ball back after Nebraska scored some points, went right down the field and scored some points.
Yeah, I agree. The running back, I'm trying to get his name. Oh, yeah. Hassan Haskins from Michigan. He is a baller. He's a good player. He had a great game today.
Yeah. I will also say this. Hey, credit to Cade McNamara. He's getting better. I think he's getting better.
Yeah. If he was a 22 of 38, 255, no TDs, 1 pick. If you turn that pick into a TD, you know what I mean? That's a big difference in the stats. You know what I mean? That's huge.
Yeah, he's getting better. With the losses we saw early on, Michigan's going to go up. If you ask me, I would put them at either 7 or 6, maybe 5. So they're on the outskirts of the college football playoffs. Now, they're going to have to win out if they want a legitimate chance at making the college football playoffs, because winning out and then getting into the Big Ten championship game and winning that game, you can have a shot to get into the Big Ten, get into the college football playoffs. So this could be Jim Harbaugh's here. Personally, if you ask me, I think this is the year Michigan needs to take advantage of it. Make this their best season of Jim Harbaugh, because listen, even now their schedule remaining is still pretty tough. Now they got Northwestern at home. Northwestern isn't that good like they were last year. They got to go to Michigan State. That's going to be a very tough game. So because Michigan State's really damn good. That's gonna be a tough ass game. Then they play Indiana at Michigan. Even though Indiana's not as good as say last year's team, you can't take them lightly. Still, Indiana can still upset you.
Yeah, I know. Penix and everything. He's a good ball. He's still a good quarterback and everything. I still believe in him and that whole team there. They've had a few just bumps in the road, I guess I could say. Tough games, bumps in the road. They're still a legit team. I agree.
Yeah. Then after Indiana, they have to go to Penn State and play Penn State in Happy Valley. That's definitely going to be another tough game that they could lose. They go to Maryland, which should be a victory for them, a fairly easy one. And then they go at home where they play their hated rivals. Hopefully, this is the year where they beat them once and for all, because I guarantee you, if they're undefeated up to this point, this is a game that gets them into the Big Ten championship game. This is the game where it's like, okay, if they're undefeated, I feel like this year's game, if Michigan goes undefeated and is undefeated against Ohio State, that's the game where you need to change the corner. Again, we'll see if they can go undefeated for the remaining part of their schedule. I won't be lying. I'm pulling for Michigan. I hope that Michigan does that and they get to Ohio State.
I don't think it's happening. I think they will lose more games probably.
Yeah, I think they might lose to Michigan State or Penn State. They're going to lose one of those games. It's either Michigan State or Penn State.
They might lose both.
They could lose both. But maybe Jim Harbaugh can.
If they lose both those if they lose both those games, then they will definitely lose to Ohio State too.
Well, I still think Ohio State is a little shaky this year. I still consider them overrated. So far, my come to Jesus moments, Clemson already had that. I'm waiting on fucking Oklahoma was supposed to have that today. Their come to Jesus moments when they were finally called out for being overrated. But no, Texas had to ruin my day today. Then hopefully somebody gives Ohio State its come to Jesus moment and just saying, listen, you guys played like bad teams for the last couple of weeks. You guys aren't as what you guys used to be. Come back next year and we'll see you guys maybe dominate. So yeah, but I said it before, I'll say it again. I think this is Michigan's best chance to defeat Ohio State this year. You're at home and Ohio State, they're good, but they're not what we know Ohio State to be. I'm just going to be like that.
And if you're a Michigan player, you got to do this for Harbaugh.
Oh, yeah. Especially
you know what I mean?
The fact that he got an extension.
Yeah, exactly. And if you're a Harbaugh, you got to do it for yourself, and you got to do it for the people that backed you up and gave you that extension.
Yeah, but we'll definitely be eyeing Michigan. Again, like I said, I'm pulling for Michigan to do good. I want them to succeed. The question is, can they do it? We'll just have to see. But it isn't going to be easy, especially with the fact that you got Michigan State and Penn State and Ohio State left on your schedule. And Michigan State and Penn State's defenses, they're no jokes either. They're no jokes.
No, they aren't. Well, that's one thing I love about the Big 12. Big 12 always has, just tough defenses.
Mm-hmm. Anyways, moving on. We're going to get to another late game. Number 14, Notre Dame rebounds from their upset from Cincinnati and defeats, or well, I guess you could say, escapes Virginia Tech at Virginia Tech. With, let's just say their kicker making the game-winning field goal to essentially win them the game, 32-29. Listen, the thing about the Irish is I feel like they needed this game, especially with the kind of oh my God, I can't speak today.
This one?
Yes, go ahead.
Humiliating.
Yes, loss that they had to Cincinnati last week at home. Now, I thought they were going to lose this game because for Virginia Tech had a pretty good damn control of this game for a majority.
Sorry, I'm just saying Virginia Tech's a good team this year, I think. I think they're really underrated. They're playing well this year.
Yeah. So that's the whole thing there. And it was a back and forth game. It was back and forth. At some point, Jack Cohn actually, I believe, got benched in this game.
He did.
For Buckner. And Buckner came in and he gave them a spark and kept them in the game. Then the last two drives, Jack Cohn came back in the game and essentially went down the field and helped the Notre Dame win the game. Good on I guess Jack Cohn, but again, it shows you that well, now we see why Wisconsin got rid of Jack Cohn. Maybe he's not that good to begin with. So
Well, I was just saying with the Cone thing, I think the experience is a big reason why he goes back in that game.
mm-hmm.
And like I think he's also I think he's a good quarterback. I think that he has a bad rap, but he has a lot on his plate at Notre Dame. I feel like they put a lot on his shoulders and they expect a lot out of him.
Yeah, so I guess you can say Notre Dame's got a quarterback controversy going on. I don't know. It's weird.
They better figure it out, Notre Dame.
Yeah. Listen, my dad's a Notre Dame fan. He always tells me this. Notre Dame will somehow be in a battle that they have no business being in a battle with. And then 9 out of 10 times they come out on top winning.
Yeah, and they play USC next week, so I'm excited about that one.
They should blow out USC because USC absolutely sucks. But again, like I said earlier, Notre Dame will find a way to keep USC in the game when USC has no business being in the game at all. And then they'll probably win with the skin of their teeth because that's how Notre Dame football plays. But good, I guess good win for Notre Dame. They definitely needed it. You didn't need another loss, otherwise they're really done. I honestly, I think the college football playoff chances are done regardless, but at least they can maybe get a New Year. They can probably get a New Year's Six bowl if they don't lose another game. So, yeah. Anyways, we're gonna end off for night with probably the most anticipated biggest game of the week. My boy over there is wearing a Texas A&M jersey. Yes, there he goes, and it's of Johnny Manziel.
My guy.
Anyways, Texas A&M upsets number 1 Alabama 41-38 in a game where I'm gonna be honest, it was literally being a replica of Oklahoma and Texas. I was literally like, Texas A&M must have been watching Texas earlier today, and they're like, well, what are ways how we can top what they did? Because guess what? We dominate completely the first half. It was 24-10 in the first half. And the Texas A&M got the crowd behind them. They're dominating Alabama. And you're like, Texas A&M should blow these guys out. And it's not even a contest. Well, all it needs is one damn half. Hell, you had freaking Nick Saban at his halftime interviews, essentially like literally laughing, walking into the locker room. Now, it's funny because the commentator's like, he's probably not gonna be laughing when he gets into the locker room. I'm like, he probably isn't.
No.
He probably is screaming like, what the fuck? But he was laughing because he probably knew, oh, listen, if we clean these things up, we'll get back in this game and we'll probably take this game in a W. So literally what I mean by this game was honest to God a replica of Oklahoma and Texas. The fact that, well, Alabama was the one dominating the second half. And Texas A&M, they couldn't get nothing started in the second half. And it was something where it's like, okay, Texas A&M they need to wake up on offense. Otherwise, they're not going to win this game. They're not going to win this game at all. And, well, it gets to the point where Alabama goes down the field. They tie the game, I believe. No, do they tie the game?
Wait, are you talking about in the fourth quarter with – because I have the play-by-play right here for the scoring plays only on the fourth quarter.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, it's just in the fourth quarter. The fourth quarter started off at 31-24 Texas A&M, and then Alabama got a field goal, 31-27, another field goal, 31-30. Then Alabama scored to make it 38-31, and then Texas A&M scored to make it 38-38.
Yeah.
So Alabama scored 3 straight drives, a field goal, touchdown to put them up by 7. Then Texas A&M scored. Then they got the field goal at the end to win it. Yeah.
It was a crazy game, and it's like, okay. So when Alabama took the lead, I'm like, Texas A&M needs to go down the field and score a touchdown. Otherwise, they're done. It's game over. It's done. They get stopped. It's done. It's over. Alabama's going to. Yeah, Alabama's going to escape out of Kyle Field and get up out of there and breathe by the skin of the teeth. And it's gonna be the same thing. It's gonna be like, fucking hell. Just like the Florida game, Alabama should have never won this damn game. They should have lost this game. And this is why I say all the time, this is why Alabama does not schedule away games unless it's within their conference. Hell, they don't even want to play in their own conference. They'd rather have a neutral site game before they have an in-conference away game. This is why when they play teams out of conference, they don't say, yeah, let's go to Miami. Let's go to Ohio State. Let's go to somewhere else. Let's go to out of conference, somewhere we've never been before. Nick Saban doesn't do that. He's like, no, I want it in a neutral site because he knows it's going to be half Alabama fan, probably more Alabama fans than the opposing team's fans, which essentially makes it a home field advantage. And guess what? He has no business of losing those games because he's like, oh, we're going to win these games. But say if he goes to Ohio State, the horseshoe, there's a chance he could lose games in hostile environments. He does not look. I've been watching college football the past decade. I've been seeing the whole trend with Alabama. They do not schedule away games at some of the toughest places to play because Nick Saban knows those are trap games, and he knows his team can lose those games in hostile environments. It almost happened this year earlier against Florida. This time, Texas A&M did what Florida couldn't do, and that's beat Alabama on their field. This is why I say. This is one of the reasons why I hate Alabama. I wish they scheduled more games where they go to opponents' fields and go beat them on their field. I don't know. They're always got great teams, but it's like I want to see them do it on an opponent's field out of conference. Stop having these neutral site fields. Actually go out there to a tough place to play. Go out to Ohio State and go beat them in the horseshoe. Go to the big house and beat Michigan in the big house. Do that. Don't freaking be a coward and go on a neutral field sighting. Actually go to their stadium, go to their place and beat them. Like you do with Auburn, Texas A&M, LSU, yada, yada, yada. You know, you'll play in conference SEC opponents in their stadiums. But hell, what am I talking about? It's like I said earlier, he'd rather play neutral site games, even for his own in-conference opponents. But listen, I'm not gonna blame Alabama for the loss. I guess their defense kind of let up on the last drive or two. Listen, good on Texas A&M. You know, when they got the touchdown to tie the game, they had to get a stop. They got the stop, mostly because Alabama receivers dropped their passes. So they went down the field and they got the freaking field goal, won the game. Good on Texas A&M. Good on Texas A&M. Now, this definitely makes something in terms of the SEC West, I believe, how it could go. Now, Alabama's still first place in their own individual division. Now, they lose another game, they can drop. And I believe if Texas A&M really, if they want to make the SEC championship game, they got to win out and hope that Mississippi State at least loses.
Yeah, that's what we talked. We did this earlier before the show. We talked about that. Yeah, Mississippi State needs to lose for them.
And Mississippi State, they play Alabama, and that's at Mississippi State, I believe. So
let me check that for you real quick.
Yeah, I see it. It's at Mississippi State. So
yeah.
they could lose that game.
Yep, they could. And then, Arkansas goes to Alabama, then Alabama goes to Auburn at the end of the year too. So
yeah, knowing Alabama, I don't care how bad Auburn plays. If Alabama's playing Auburn at Auburn, it doesn't matter how bad Auburn's playing. For some reason, Auburn loves to upset Alabama at Jordan-Hare Stadium at Auburn. They always like to do that. And they get up, they play that game, and trust and believe it happens. I've seen it countless times. Alabama goes to Auburn, and they somehow lose the game. Now, that might not happen this year because Bryce Young's pretty good. But listen, in terms of Alabama, of how far they're going to drop in the rankings, I don't freaking know. If it was me as a committee, I'm dropping them outside the top 4. They'd at least be 5 or 6. Probably more likely 5. But I know what the committee's going to do. They're going to put them at either 3 or 4. Hell, they might be so damn generous and give them number 2. Now, if they give them number 2,
I don't think that, because if Iowa beat Penn State this week, 3 and 4, I don't think that's going to happen.
Well, we'll definitely see. Hopefully, the rankings are how I like it. So Georgia's 1, Iowa's 2. I would put either it would probably be a switch between either Clemson or Cincinnati, or no, not Clemson. What the fuck am I talking about? Alabama or Cincinnati.
Are you asking for my top 4?
I guess if you want to put it in there.
I would go Georgia 1, Iowa 2, Cincy 3, Bama 4 still.
Okay. I think that's fair enough. I still would probably take Bama out of the college football playoffs, but I guess the committee would make a point of saying, well, they played a really close game against Texas A&M and they battled back.
That's what they will say.
Yeah. I still say, well, yeah, they did, but I still think that's bullshit how they're still in number 4. Kick them out and at least be generous and put them at number 5. I have another team be in the top 4. Because guess what? We already know if Alabama wins out their schedule, they're going to go back to the freaking SEC championship game. So they'll make up for that. And then 2, one of those teams are getting upset in those games, in one of those games. We'll just have to find out. But this was a really, and I mean really good week of college football. Great stuff.
Awesome. Awesome.
Best week of college football so far. So I'm going to go over some of the more important games for week 7 of college football. On Friday night, you got Clemson versus Syracuse at Syracuse. Syracuse almost upset Wake Forest. They could do the same to Clemson. Now, we'll see if Clemson took advantage of their bye week and they didn't snooze off. But I still think Syracuse could be a tough team to play in their building. California versus Oregon could be a pretty damn good matchup, so that's good. Saturday-wise, we got Oklahoma State versus Texas. Regardless how you feel about how Texas is, I still think that's a pretty damn good matchup.
It's going to be.
You got Cincinnati at UCF. Even though UCF's starting quarterback is out, UCF could maybe still give Cincinnati a run for its money, maybe, but that's at Cincinnati. Another good game is Michigan at Indiana, Auburn, and Arkansas as well. I don't know. I think Arkansas probably blows Auburn out because
I haven't got a chance to really, honestly, I haven't seen Auburn play that much this year. Like, haven't got a chance to really like sat down and look at them play.
I heard they're very inconsistent, especially with Bo Nix.
They're inconsistent with Bo Nix, you said?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not surprising.
Again, we already made the mention Yale versus UConn. So you want to check that out? Go check that out. Next week, the Big 12-30 SEC game is Kentucky versus Georgia, where Kentucky could maybe upset Georgia, but
I want to see how again, Kentucky's another team I haven't got to see play. Like, we're sitting down and see them play, so I don't know how good they're, but they seem like, I mean, they seem like they're doing pretty well, honestly.
Yeah, we get a really interesting matchup. BYU at Baylor.
That's that's a really weird matchup. Where is it at Baylor?
Yeah, Baylor.
That is weird. Wow, they've never put.
Oh, hey, that's a future Big 12 matchup there because.
Oh, that's cool. Actually, good job.
Yeah, they're gonna be in the Big 12. Again, we made a mention Alabama at Mississippi State. That could be a good game where Mississippi State maybe upsets Alabama. Now, if Alabama loses that game, they are done. DON, done.
Officially. I mean, I shouldn't say I hate Alabama. I need more diversity.
Yeah. TCU plays Oklahoma at Oklahoma. That's the 4:00 ABC game. I'm guessing that's going to be the primetime game. Kurt Herbstreit and Chris Fowler take. TCU, I give them a pretty damn good chance to beat Oklahoma. So
TCU, another team under the radar this year.
Yeah. Going over. If this means anything, UCLA plays Washington at 5:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, which is 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. So that could be a good game. And then I just made the mention too. This game's probably going to be for the Pac-12 South, and that's number 22 Arizona going to Utah in a Pac-12 after dark matchup. So
that's cool. It playoff implications, kind of like you said. Sorry.
Yeah. So obviously, you probably want to stay up for that game if you want to see who wins, because whoever wins that matchup is probably coming out winning the Pac-12 South.
Yeah, I would agree.
So, yeah. So far, it seems like it might be Utah that wins because they're in Utah. And Utah's a pretty tough place to play. And 2, It's probably cold in Utah around this time.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's a warm place to play.
Yeah, so that could also be a factor. In Arizona State, they don't do good on the road. Well, other than UCLA. But other than that, that's kind of it. But again, thank you guys for checking out this video again. I'm sorry for last week. That was just a thing, but we made a whole schedule where we're either going to do these college football recaps either the night of the week or more than likely we're going to record them on Sundays and then get them uploaded to YouTube as fast as we can, probably Monday or Tuesday at the earliest. But other than that, guys, again, if you guys like the video, leave a like. Put in the comment section your thoughts on this week's of college football. What was your favorite game out of the big games of this weekend? As well as hit that subscribe button to the channel if you want to get more college football content. As well as, again, tomorrow, if you're interested in NFL content regarding the Chicago Bears, me and my co-host will be here talking Chicago Bears football because he's a Patriots fan. And guess I'm getting an outside perspective on the Bears. In a sense, so you don't hear me ranting for 20 minutes or something like that. So watch my game recap where the lovely Chicago Bears play the Las Vegas Raiders, one was called
Lovely
Oakland Raiders.
Chicago Bears.
Where Justin Fields finally is the man. So tune in for that if you want to get my thoughts on Justin Fields and Chicago Bears stuff against the Raiders. But yeah, damn, makes me wish I was back in Las Vegas again. That was a fun ass trip. But other than that, guys, we're gonna get out of here. So till then, guys, have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you guys next week for week 7 of college football. So till then, guys, we'll catch you guys later. Peace.